what we can do if we are faced with decisions within our fields, in our careers, to make a change, to potentially take a stand or go on a path that is less followed. And I believe that all of us in our fields and careers will be faced with these sort of decisions, life-changing decisions, to where we're really tested and our faith is tested, and we're going to have to make a choice of choosing for the higher vibration, light, or we're going to lean into the darker vibrations and darkness within all of these fields. We're given the option through our free will to take a path or create a new one. Right now, we are on a path of what we may know as catastrophic destruction or catastrophic change, really. And I walked home from school. You know, back in the day, we would walk home from school. I don't really believe that's probably too safe these days. I don't really think school's that safe these days, but it's that we've kind of tipped a scale. Our systems that are at play right now that govern us can no longer persist. The legal system that's corrupt, right? We know that God's law and order is not the same as man's man and order. Or we're looking into the medical for-profit system and the pharmaceutical companies, where there's a lot of lawsuits coming out because of, newfound tumors and cancers coming from different medications. So all of this is coming to a head. The banking system we're seeing crumble as it works off of the profit of the people and benefits the billionaires and does not benefit the average folk, right? So we've tipped a scale. We're going to need some sort of catastrophic change in order to bring forward a better day or golden era. I will say it this way: we're at a place where we had a chance, okay? We had a chance to wake up, but we didn't. So the masses are unconscious, and I think that it's too late. So what you can do in these times immediately is focus on your consciousness and your utmost awareness to truth, your holy energetics, your energetic field, and how it's playing a role individually and into the collective. That's what you can do in this moment. And you can choose for the light. You can choose for love and the higher vibration. We've tipped the scale. We're past midnight. We've got to it may take time to kind of undo the undoing that we've done. So all fields are what I see, which is very interesting, is I think that there's going to be this kind of, like I call, a great divide. Although we're shifting out of this duality mindset, we have to understand that the paradigm that we've created, the realities that we're in, it's very split. So with every field, there's going to be those that they lean towards darkness and they'll have a job with the system. They'll have a paycheck with the system. And then there will be those that choose for the higher good and for light and love, and they're going to separate themselves from the system. So I see in every field, individuals, professionals are going to be going more underground. Those that are of light and love, those that are conscious. And they will not be able to operate in these systems anymore. Those that are choosing to stay with these systems and these outdated, the white male patriarchy mindset of control over everybody and for profit, greed, will be offered something that is going to enable them to be paid, to have the internet, to have access to banks. So some may call it as the mark of the beast or chips. Where we are now is leading us into crisis, so that banking systems are depleted, our money is gone, and in order to have money or have internet or have medical care, we will have an offer that we almost can't resist. So this is where we see then digital IDs coming in and stabilized coins, CBDs, CDs, in order to be able to travel or purchase things, have access to Wi-Fi, internet, 5G, unless if you don't have the digital ID, you won't actually exist. We do have a chance to reclaim consciousness and create a new day. I feel that we're going into this shift regardless if we were leaning into high vibrational leadership or low vibrational leadership. That we currently are going under more of a low vibrational leadership, and I'm not into politics. I think they're all, not necessarily for consciousness. We don't need hospitals if we're conscious, and that we don't need the banks if we're conscious. We don't need these systems if we're conscious. So in a sense, politics are all the way corrupt, but there is the chance with the feminine to be more high vibrational, to be more for reparations, equality, diversity, equal representation, stopping the price gouging. The insurance companies right now, it's outrageous. I feel that the insurance companies are also going to fall. In Texas, the average car insurance policy is like $250 a month. All of this corruption is going to, it has hit a hand and it needs to change. Now with the lower vibrational leadership, we can see all of this, the crisis, the catastrophe leading to us with the digital IDs, leading into more control in a negative light that doesn't represent all people, that punishes people and herds us like cattle. So there's still chance that, right now this had to happen so that we can see the absolute and utter destruction and chaos that we would be leading ourselves into. And also so you can see your neighbors, right? Who you have contracts with. There's no chance for that to last for them. There's no chance of that survival and peace. So we had to saw what this is, these illusions, these promises for a better day, and as an illusion, so we can learn discernment through it. So with the female president, and you're talking about the United States, if that were to happen, the extraterrestrial involvement, I feel, would be more positive. Because the extraterrestrials are going to come in and make themselves more and more known, as they have been, and more recently there was Washington coming out about this. So you have to understand that it is important which leadership is the face of that. It's very important, because with the man in leadership, we will see more of World War III. And so their involvement will be more to stop that. And if there was the higher vibrational leadership, it would be more to bring more awareness and truth to our planet. So we're going to see more and more of, to where there's technology within us, and it's all working for surveillance. We're going to see more bio-nanotechnology, and what they like to do is keep us aged, like have us not age, to be ageless. You're going to see the medical field. I think of like the healing chambers and all of that. You can do all of this from within you. It's a guise that we need, the watches that scan us, right? And although it is nice to have the OraFit or the watches that give us the Oura read, it's beautiful, it's helpful. But we need to stay to truth, in that we need our intuition to be doing this for us. We're the greatest technology on the planet. We're the greatest artificial intelligence out there, okay? And all technology is mimicked from our beings. I see a lot of people right now resisting the change with the cashless society and the automation that we are going to see more and more of. People are very upset with the AI. So we can't avoid it. And whenever we form resistance, we just block. You want to be more fluid in these days and more accepting of the change to come, but we want to positively energy manipulate the technology. So if you didn't know, like people like me, like that are psychic, and I've trained in telepathy in groups, I've manipulated technology from my mind. I see others, I work with clients that are high up empaths, they manipulate technology from the mind. If you think of saucers that we see that have amazing speed, and they're able to go northeast, southwest, everywhere in all directions, that runs off of the mind, it runs off of energy, it runs off of consciousness, okay? That's the true way of using technology in this world, but that's been stolen from us. So it's not so far-fetched for me to think of, using technology from the mind, because it does happen in my life. It is my reality. And aerospace is a huge topic right now, as we are awakening, because consciousness and aerospace go hand in hand. What Elon is doing, I think it was like over 90. He had like over 90 crash lands of his rockets. Like NASA can't do that. NASA can't just test out rockets into space, and if they crash, they crash. So all of that rocket fuel and all of the satellites are destroying our planet. It's not the ethical way to be flying airplanes and jets, using all of this toxic and this nuclear waste, this jet fuel. It's disrupting our planet and killing us, and it needs to stop. So we need to see those in technology rising in consciousness and bringing this to the forefront in order to bring in more sustainability within the field. We're going to see technology work towards more surveillance of us. With the digital IDs and currency, it's all for surveillance. So right now, we're watched more than ever, and we needed this to be in more of a high vibrational surveillance. Like I'm saying, we can't stop it. Not right now. In the future, we can. Where we're at presently, if the female president, and I'm talking about America, that would have been a more positive control of us with surveillance. Right now, with the man, it's surveillance on another level. It's racist, it's colorist, it's sexist, it's against children, it's against immigrants, all people of color. It's targeting and punishing. So that's kind of where we're headed with him. We're going to see more drones for policing. We're going to see people in the protective services and military, again, just like the nurses and doctors, leave the field because they're not able to morally commit the destruction. That war should be at the table, not to the innocents, because war specifically targets people of color, women, and children time and time again, and it leads to more forcing colonization, missionaries of certain religions. We're starting to see that here in America with Trumpus and his Bible, right? This shifts into more, you need to be this religion in order to have the digital ID or money. You need to have this Christianity and this God in order to be able to eat, okay? And that's in the hands of the lower vibrational chauvinistic male. We must move towards sovereignty and spirituality. We're all a vessel of spirit and energy, and that we all are prone to manipulation from energies, entities, spirits, doctors, and nurses. We, hear of a lot of stories for them because they're praised in our society. They are the heroes of our society. You hear of a lot of doctors and nurses talking about, in the surgery room, I had my angels. There's this divine force guiding me. A lot of nurses say, it was just this intuition. The angels came through and they told me to go and they saved somebody's lives. Now that's respected within communities and religious communities. Religions talk about extraterrestrials, angels, and it's accepted. But what's not accepted in this society is that we're prone to negative manipulation as well. So I see this divide in careers in all fields to where there will be entities manipulating those in the darkness, and there will be entities working through manipulation in the light. So more positive manipulation from positive beings of healing, love, and truth, peace, cooperation, unity, and then those that are used by entities of destruction, chaos, separation, lack, and disease. In science, what you're going to see, and we've already began to see this, you've seen a lot of nurses leave the field after COVID, right? They have awakened, you could say. They've woken up to the truth that, like the military, they are being used by the government, and that the government doesn't care about them. Many nurses and doctors have taken a stand through the pandemic and COVID and said, this isn't right. This isn't something I want to stand for. I don't want to admit. This doesn't feel ethical. My time isn't being valued. They're standing up for truth, sovereignty, and their justice, and they've left. Now, I encourage that, because what that will lead you, and I want to give this message of hope if you studied science or nursing for so long, there is hope. We still need you. You are so important, but don't be afraid to stand alone and branch away, and you'll be connected to communities that stand with you then. But we're more underground now. Us true healers, the true light workers, the ones that are working with the angels, you could say, the angels of light and love. And that's okay, it needs to happen. That's going to crumble, you have to understand. These systems will fall, and you want to get out before it does, okay? Because then you'll still be standing. We awaken in waves, but with the pandemic, we see more holistic nurses, more holistic doctors. We see more the death doulas emerge. I love that. And doulas and midwives and nutritionists and holistic therapists and psychic therapists. And the psychology field is getting a sovereignty too, and leaning more into the research. The CIA is kind of held and not let us have on, I think of like brain hemisphere syncing and the quantum field, and all of this is science, it's research, it's proven, but it's only used to create soldiers for war. It's not given to the medical system, which we need. Now, there are pioneers in medical intuition working to bring medical intuition into medical schools. It's much needed. I think for the message from, if you're a medical worker in any field, you have to understand about healing from within and from the mind, okay? So the golden era, we don't really need the hospitals anymore. We don't need that. So you want to be transitioning and working towards, how can I heal myself from within me? How can I scan my body and know what I'm lacking or needing in order to bring harmony? This is the medicine that the people need. The medicine that we need is within us. Remember, when I channel, I'm getting into a brain state. That's neurochemistry. It's pharmacology. Okay? That's what ancient mythologies and religions are talking about a lot of the times. It's Catholics have their, blood of Christ and bread. It's chemistry. It's drugs. It's a lot of it. Our medicine, I'll say, comes from within us. So you want to be choosing the high vibrational with work. If you're forced with a decision to, right now in Texas, they're in the medical system's making people say their immigration status. If you feel that's, unethical, leave. You say, Jojo, how am I going to pay my bills? We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But we have to. Don't stand in something that is not ethical. And you don't feel it's ethical or safe, take a stand and walk away. Another opportunity will open for you. This is a time of sovereignty, so entrepreneurship is important. If you can get online and market your unique skills, and this is in every field, and this is for everybody, you're going to want to be online, monetizing your gifts, your skills, and your life calling. Robots are going to take over everything and automation. So we've seen, I remember in 2014, I prophesized a retail apocalypse. We're seeing retail close. So we're going to see the retail stores collapse. We are already seeing big banks collapse. We're going to see within restaurants more automation. It's more efficient and cost effective. You're going to see waiters and waitresses, have the robots to replace all workers. We're already starting to see this in gas stations, and again in the hands of the corrupt, the darker, lower separation energy. Elon, you can bet that it's going to invade and take from. Right now, what they're doing is we're going to see more concentration camps of people, not just immigrants and homeless, but I feel this will also be people of color potentially, and women and children. Access to medical care for women will be illegal. So they'll be forced to, be punished for certain medical care. In Texas, there is a push to have these immigration concentration camps, yes. But what Trump is trying to do is a mass deportation of migrants. Most of us have an immigrant background. So this country was built on that. Certain forces are trying to stop that, and that migrants are not the criminals. That's a lie. The biggest criminals in the country are Americans. That's going to disrupt our food system big time and our market. So, it's like good luck trying to get your fruits and vegetables. This is why we need to have more gardens and getting away from the grocery stores right now. And you need to be able to be self-sufficient. Engineering is, again, this is where we're going to really need you to fight for sovereignty and the higher vibration, because you're going to be constructing and creating all of our technology. I'll tell you what prophets around the board are seeing. We're all seeing the same thing. Prophecy is not tied to religion. Prophecy is tied to world events, tied to your psychic ability. We're seeing a lot of floods. We're seeing a lot of fire, war. So it's very, very sacred land, what they're trying to do, and what they're doing now is a major train and pipelines. Take the rose-colored glasses off and see things for what they really are. If you're choosing for the light right now, all of your contracts with certain Republicans, I'm sorry, will end. You won't be able to hold property contracts with Republicans. You won't be able to work under certain Republicans. You'll get fired from jobs automatically if you're choosing for the light. You'll get laid off just miraculously. It's not going to work. And Trump's cabinet has compared him to a Nazi or Hitler, and his followers as like Nazi, followers. But that's the way I was explaining it to a friend. I'm saying you may not see it this way, but you're not gonna be able to run and operate your business of light under certain Republican parties or states, because it's almost like if Hitler was running the country or the Republican state, would you really want to have your business under a contract under that person? No, you wouldn't. You'd pull back. So everything that's shifting in your life right now with your money and your work and who you're in relationship with is for the highest good. You've made a choice to stand for the higher vibrational energy. You have to let all of this fall so that things can be rebuilt. And you're going in a separate direction. It's important to boycott right now. It's important to take a stand, because it fundamentally is infringing on our human rights. If we don't have rights, we have nothing else. There's no taxes, there's nothing. Okay, so fundamentally you have to stand for human rights. Now, contracts are important to your health. Many people don't know this. I learned the sacredness of contracts very early in my life. I was still considering myself a Christian at the time when I learned about sacred agreements and how they are so important. And doctors don't ever tell us this, that our contracts can influence our body, our mind and spirit, but they do. You have to be very mindful of where you sign and on which dotted line. Mathematics. Well, with mathematics, we're finding out that it was all false, as we're seeing more and more individual patents being released saying, that didn't work. That's not true. So it's going to affect the education system in universities. Anyone else drop a comment if you couldn't finish school because you couldn't sit there and comply to just non-truths. I'm like, this isn't true. Why am I being tested on this? It's not true. I can't do this. Most people, they don't have that. They do it and they get their paycheck. They get their praise from their family. Don't be that person. That's led us here. Enough is enough. So we're going to see that with all of this fake mathematics, it's going to help put sacred geometry in people's hands, which puts more power in people's hands. The financial systems, again, are crumbling. I saw that, Bank of America, over the summer, Spirit had me pull away and get into a smaller bank. I know I'm not the only one who's been led to leaving these corporations. That's on purpose. You're being protected. Okay? Remind you that in all fields, whether you're a teacher, a lawyer, let's talk about the legal system for a second. Are you serious? It is so corrupt. They're acting like they're bringing justice to the planet. They're bringing punishment to the planet. They're bringing more concentration camps to the planet. They're not fixing and making solutions for the disruption and darkness that we have at play. I think of all of these people that are, sent to prison and everything, and it's just like, why don't we help them to depossess? Why don't we help them to release spirit attachments? Did you know, my research, when people release spirit attachments, their whole personality changes, their appearance changes, okay? Blocks are removed. You can help people to clear themselves. You can help to transmute the energy. Energy doesn't die, so we're just locking it and harvesting darkness for, these prisons are a siphoning of energy for a fear and control and dehumanization of men to be for the power hungry, the ones that lead. Legal system has to change. I mean, they have no clairvoyance in it at all. It's just, I mean, yes, the CIA is into psychic ability, yes. I'm talking about at the local level. We don't have attorneys that are in their intuitive eye. We don't have judges in their intuitive eye. The judges are being paid to lean certain ways. It's like spiffs, it's like doctors. You get paid for the certain drug. I mean, it's unbelievable. Karma will be paid out for the people that are falsely accusing people, that can't see the one that's truthful. Okay, and a lot of light workers right now, we're under attack. They're trying to get us in the jails. They're trying to get us in the hospitals too. You have to fight that, okay? You have to fight that. So Spirit is calling for us to fast more. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't prescribe or diagnose, and fasting may not be for everybody, but I mean fasting of like, there's a plastic crisis that Spirit's saying to fast from. What we're doing to meat, we're going to see more outbreaks because the animals are going to turn against us. The spirits and the consciousness of the animals and mass production of meat is going to turn against us. We're going to see more outbreaks because it won't persist. There's torture happening, and I mean, they waste so much. Like, if you've ever seen in certain farmers, like farmhouses, it's like if all of the chickens get a certain outbreak, they might put foam so they suffocate, and so all of the animals just die in suffocation because they can't sell that meat. So they're in these crowded conditions, which are really leading to a lot of different outbreaks, and it's not going to be good. So fast from the plastics, fast from the meats, become more resourceful. You want to get your own vegetation, your own garden. If you have your own like spring well, get your own, water source. Solar panels are great for electricity, and maybe more off grid and outside of the big cities would be ideal for those that lean towards the light. Your water quality is so important. You have to understand that. It's important for your physical body. Make sure you're drinking healthy water, okay? And not tap. Understand that the tap is poisonous. It plays a role in our endocrine system, our hormones. We're all being tested right now to see what you choose. Can you weather the storm and have faith? Can you choose for the light? Can you and walk on a path alone? A good friend told me the other day a story of and what would you do? Now, if there's a train headed towards destruction, but there's 5 or 10 people on this train, there's a lot of people there. They're all on this train, and then there's one man who's hiking. Would you save the one man, or would you save the people on the train? That was the question. And I said, oh my God, this is a prophet story. This is the hero's journey archetype, because essentially everybody on that train is headed towards destruction. Why would you save them? They got on themselves. I would save the hiker, because he more likely had the intuition that said, and he didn't ignore it, because we all get warnings. Everybody's a medium. Angels don't care if you don't know that or not. They're going to still come and say, you got to move now. You got to do this move. You got to say this. They don't care if you know who you are. So I would save the hiker, because he probably had that intuitive hunch that they're headed towards destruction. It was a trick question. It's a prophet story. I talked about the farmers, how military people, as we've seen, are going to have a mass exodus. They're going to say, I just can't do it. And I think also if Trump's able to get control of the military, as he promises, on a state level of bringing and enacting out the mass deportation of migrants or putting them in camps, military people are going to say time out. They're going to say time out. I can't do this. I come from, my background is from here and there. I can't do this. So you'll see a mass exodus there, and that's okay. Create a new system of protection services for us. We're on a grid. Have you ever heard that there's grids around Earth? You ever wonder why someone that invents something over here gets that same idea over here? Because they're connected to the same source. Create new ways of innovation and sustainability in every field that you're in. Every field. Education system. So we've seen a mass exodus of teachers as well. So you're seeing this in every field, but you're going to see more. Especially, I would not be teaching in any school or classroom if I had to force religion on people. That's awful. If it was the Quran, this wouldn't be happening, okay? It wouldn't be happening. So it's a direct colonization of the people through Christianity. Christians love it. They love this. So we're also seeing more, with Pluto and Aquarius, the truths behind the education system are being exposed. So a lot of people just aren't going to buy it. You'll see more they call it hippie communes or more sustainable communes of people gathering together without the cars, more sustainability, cooperations, and they'll be having schoolhouses for their children to meet with other children to learn, aside from the curriculum that is false, that is forced on people. If you ever look at jails and prisons, the way they're shaped and designed, and then you look at schools, they're very similar. The bell rings, right? And some of them got uniforms. So school has really taught people to be good servants of the system, whether it's right or wrong. A lot of these children end up very depressed, very confused, and hopeless. You're seeing now the indigos rise, but I saw an article of children in New York City where they band together in the park. They're the Aquarian rebels. And they're like, we're not on social media. You ever see young kids not with the phone or not on social media? No, because they can't beat to their own drum. They're not taught how to. They're taught to comply. So they can't think for themselves. And so a lot of times, it's a program from parents because, they're keeping kids in line with the system, and that's going to break. There's going to be more conscious parenting that are more conscious with conception of children, raising children with loving parents and giving love to each other. We're going to see such shift. With that, they have a consciousness that the school is really harmful for their children and infringes on their freedom and spiritual freedom and mind. Religion, you'll see a lot of religious pastors and ministers get very sick. They're not channeling light. So when you channel light, you become more healed. And you're not, what's going on here, they're not linked into that source. They're leaned into a very mesoteric, dualistic God and don't really understand the language. So you're going to see many religious leaders get very sick. Eventually, they will turn from the religion. Maybe it's not truth. Maybe I'm channeling not truth and I want to heal. Turn away from it for survival. That's what intuition is. It's for survival. So you'll see a divide there. Also, with more extraterrestrials being exposed, people are going to be like, what else isn't true? And they're going to leave religions in masses. When we wake up, which is inevitable and much needed, that's when there's more sovereignty of spirit and mind. So right now in Washington, D.C., Black government workers are very concerned about Project 2025, targeting them out of the government, okay? So if you're not familiar with Project 2025, let me tell you, it ain't for you unless you are a white man into Christianity, okay? Everyone else, good luck. So government will see a shift. If it's in the hands of the higher vibrational leadership, we're going to see, as we have been, more and more diversity, which is a very good thing, more reparations for colonization, and if not, we're undoing it. We're undoing it. Trumpists and Elon, they're trying to, Elon's explaining that he's creating an economic disaster. Of course, this will benefit billionaires and not us. But he's saying that's the solution needed. And if you have heard any interviews from people that work for him, they think he's a complete and utter monster. The left brain logical man has no feeling body or emotional body. They are the ones that, they end up, how do we all die? Man. So they're going to trigger this huge economic disaster, which will lead to mass evictions and homelessness. Then people will be forced, again, remember the offers that are too good to resist, so they'll be forced into more concentration camps, or Trump's calling it rehabilitation. It's all guys, okay? So those people will have to be probably chipped or digital ID'd or forced into Christianity, and you'll see so many people, I got the whole, I got Jesus in me now, and da-da-da, and they changed, and they're off drugs, and it works to stay connected to the church. You will, you will have praise and you'll be more accepted in society, which energetically will allow your God to manifest for you good things. So it's a guys, Project 2025, certain medical access will be illegal. So we're going to see more women be put to jail for trying to save themselves or heal themselves. And I think this is also going to target children as end of rights for LGBTQ communities. It's awful to criminalize people for who they love. This is why it may sound harsh when I say, you better cut those Republicans off and not have, one love. You know what? Okay. They are on that track of destruction. So we'll see the end of rights. Their colonization through Christianity, the fields that are going to be working to extend life. Remember, back in ancient times, we could live for a very, very long time, able to manipulate your physical matter. We don't need their guise of pills or whatever they want to give us. So the fall of Hollywood, these are dark contracts similar to the church and the government where they call it like satanic rituals or rites or passage. A lot of it has to do with pedophilia and perverse sexual acts. That, sex is sacred. It's your power. Many people are sexually very confused, depleted. It's a disease what we have in our sexuality as a culture. Hollywood has been the face of it. So all of those ways of siphoning power will come to an end. You're going to see more. If you're an actor, an actress, I do work with clients in Hollywood. I will say this. Get out of those contracts, as I've been saying for years. I've said the same military people, get out of those contracts, clear it. It may take some time. And you're going to want to, we still need you, but we need you to be on the higher vibration. So you're going to you're wanting to go on more of a solitude, sovereign path of film creation and be mindful of the message behind it. Social media will be put more in the people's hands, which is paying the people, until in the hands of the lower vibration that'll be cut. Sports I see take a very dark turn, although it is dark. I see it more becoming like the Hunger Games type of situations. Remember, selling your soul is really selling your soul to your dark side. It's selling to your darker you in order for profit. Now, I do see more and more power outages. So I was sharing that, a lot of us are receiving apocalyptic dreams right now. So if you're struggling with your dreams, this could be why, because it's very dark, the potential paths we're headed. I will see more and more power outages, but we can combat that by being more self-sustainable, less plastics, less waste, cleaning up in your individual communities, doing community cleanups, picking up trash, stop littering. In terms of the natural disasters, we will see more and more. I would say it again, do not live on the coasts right now. Increase in cancer and pandemics. I know this sounds dark, guys, but we buried ourselves here. I'm giving solutions on how to get out. With the push for, diseases, as we've seen with like the bubonic plague, and, there's these entities, these forces, these dark forces that use us to bring illness. And what that will really lead us to is more vaccines and bio-nanotechnology. I know there's like the Human Genome Project where it's like individualized healthcare, which is really interesting, how it's like, because everybody's genes are different. So customizing medication towards that can be in the hands of high vibrational, or it can be in the hands of low vibrational, because this has always been a genetic warfare. First saw Trump, I didn't know I was going to have this ministry, but I'm just like, that's an evil scientist right there. He's connected to some, just like Hitler was. They're obsessed with genetics, mainly of superior races is what they're into, and control and breeding of certain people, soldiers, and for control.